In today's video, I'm gonna explain why do I believe that Hyrox is on track to become the #1 fitness niche in 2025. As you may notice, the fitness world is changing a bit in these last few years. Traditional gym routines are really not enough anymore for most people. Yeah, you can tell that people are craving something bigger, something different. And that's how Hyrox enters in this conversation. And I don't think this is just a trend within the fitness world. I do believe this is a revolution that it started a few months ago, but it's growing exponentially every day. And I do believe that by the end of the year, this is going to be super, super big. I think there are four main reasons that will make this happen. And just to give you a little bit of a background, I personally relate a lot with this because, well, I'm 26 now, but for the past 8 years, I've been into strength training, bodybuilding style of training. I ended up reaching my dream body, or, well, for my own standards, my dream body, a body that I'm really proud of. And I achieved this maybe within 5 years. And then I kept doing the same for another 3 years. And I started to get bored of it because at some point, progress is very minimal. I know I could probably gain way more weight, but if you are a normal dude with a normal life, fitness is just a hobby for you. You're not going to do crazy bulks and crazy things. You just want fitness to be part of your lifestyle in a sustainable and enjoyable way. So I do think that I reached that limit for my own standards, and I started to feel like I needed something new. And I didn't try to look for anything for maybe 2-3 years. Last year, late 2024, around August, I came across Hyrox and I immediately got obsessed with it. And I ended up doing a race in Marseille, in France, in December. In the open category, I did 1 hour 18. It's not really a good time, but given that most of my fitness experience has been in bodybuilding and strength training, I'm very proud of my time, and I'm definitely gonna do more races in the future. So that's a little bit of my story. But going over why do I think that Hyrox is gonna explode in 2025 and become the #1 niche, I would say that it will come down to four main reasons. And these are, first, people are starting to realize that muscle and strength are not everything. Number two, because of the actual formatting and the logistics of the race itself are amazing. Number three, simply because the exercise selection is quite accessible to everyone. And number four, this is really the cherry on the top, but basically you see more and more social media influencers transitioning into Hyrox or trying it out for the first time. For example, this week I saw a video where Rob Lipstup and Marion, which were two of the biggest fitness YouTubers related to bodybuilding, they just announced they're gonna go for a Hyrox race. And yeah, every week you see new people joining this Hyrox race. And of course, this will promote the race even more. So all these four factors combined will make Hyrox super, super big. So deep diving into the four of these reasons, starting with the muscle and strength is not everything. I think it's very noticeable that the fitness industry is changing a lot recently, especially the new generation is not so focused on getting super jacked and strong. That's not their only focus anymore. You see people on their late teens, on their 20s, even 30s and 40s. They are starting to understand that being strong and fit is not everything. This was a super popular trend for decades and years. But people are starting to realize that there are other fitness things that are as important, if not more important, especially functionality, endurance, cardio. Because what's the point of being super jacked and big if you cannot even run 2 kilometers? That's absolutely crazy. And people are starting to understand now how crazy that sounds, including myself, of course. And yeah, people now want to be fit for life. They want to be able to run, lift. That's why I feel like bodybuilding and just hitting the gym, doing strength training is really dying a little bit in that sense. And Hyrox comes in a perfect place to fill this gap because it really promotes the fact that you have to be strong and conditioned. Number two, you have the format and the logistics of the race. I think this might be the strongest factor here. First, you have the weekly races worldwide. So if on the Hyrox website, you can pretty much sign up to a race at any point in time in any part of the world, and that makes it super accessible to everyone in any country, pretty much. Not only that, the fact that you sign up for a race makes everything so much more fun, enjoyable, competitive. People are naturally competitive, so if you sign up for a race, you'll try really hard to do well versus not having a deadline to perform. And you could argue that in bodybuilding, you have bodybuilding shows, for example, or in powerlifting, you have powerlifting meetups or whatever. But if you think about it, not even 0.1% of people who start going to the gym end up doing bodybuilding shows or powerlifting meetups or whatever. So for some reason, I still don't know why, but Hyrox attracts people and people are not afraid to commit to these kind of races. I do think that most people who start training for Hyrox will end up joining a race at some point. And so this creates a snowball effect. Once you sign up for a race, you will like it so much, you will continue to do Hyrox, you'll continue to do more races, you will start talking to more people about it. And yeah, it will just keep growing. And another cool thing about Hyrox is that you have the leaderboards and all the analytics and statistics where you can see yourself placed against other people, and you can see for each station how are you performing. You can understand which stations you need to work on. So there is a lot of variables that make it super cool. I personally spend a lot of time in the Hyrox analytics. There are many websites that do this, that provide these analytics, but I've been using that a lot to understand which stations I need to work on more for my next race. And yeah, that makes it super engaging. And number three, of course, we have the exercise selection, which is very accessible to everyone. So most of the exercises are very basic to perform. I'm not saying they are easy, but they're easy to understand. For example, lunges, farmer carries, wall balls. I mean, the execution is not very complex, so anyone can really do it. The downside of the exercise selection for me is that I feel like it does not really target upper body strength that much, and I would like to see that more. But to be honest, I don't know how could we implement this, because if I try to think of an exercise that could integrate the Hyrox race, I cannot think of anything besides a push-up. But even the push-up, it's a bit difficult to assess because the execution of a push-up is quite subjective. I don't know. This is just me rambling a little bit, but I do feel like an upper body strength movement would be nice to be included in the race. But yeah, the point is, Hyrox training is very accessible to everyone. You don't need much equipment. Generally, you can do Hyrox workouts in any gym. You can really adapt to whatever you have in your gym, and they are easy to learn. So you don't have much risk of an injury doing these kind of exercises. And I think that's also a super big plus. Lastly, you have big social media profiles transitioning into Hyrox. And of course, this might be just a trend that lasts a few months or years, but I do not think that's the case. For example, Nick Bear is another big name who recently did a Hyrox. And all these people doing videos and talking about Hyrox will just make it more and more popular. It also helps you realize that these guys do not care about being jacked anymore. I mean, they do care about being jacked, but that's not the only thing they care about. Most of them are realizing that they reached their peak in terms of what they can achieve, and they want something more. I'm not surprised if for example, Mike Thurston ends up doing a race. All these fitness celebrities, I do think they will end up doing a Hyrox at some point. And I'm personally going through this Hyrox journey myself. I still do a lot of strength training because I absolutely love it. So that's pretty much it, guys. I'm pretty much documenting my journey so far with Hyrox, and I've been having a lot of fun with it. I see a lot of progress every week. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment and share your thoughts. And I'll see you in the next one.